book lovers, it is G-Swiss here, and I'm here today to talk about the biggest books on my TBR. If you didn't know, this is a 7 on Sunday topic, and I am the host of 7 on Sunday. I will link the Goodreads page down in the description where you can check it out and you can participate in the topic in the future. We have done this topic previously, but that was a year ago, and our TBRs are ever growing, ever changing. We are either flying through books, I mean that seems to be my scenario, or we're unhauling books, or we're hauling books, which means that there are times where we just collect larger books than we did before. My big books TBR kind of fall under all of those categories. So that's why I'd say after a year, it's kind of a good idea to check back in and to see if the numbers are either higher or lower. It really depends. It's kind of just a really good way to track the books on your TBR. But it was actually very hard for me to compile this list because I've read a lot this year. I've read books at a faster rate than I have been hauling them, which is very interesting. I think it's because I save up for the special editions. So technically do buy less books, but more expensive versions. Without further ado, I'm gonna get into this big book TBR for you guys and go through my page count. So out of the 7, the shortest page count book that I have is the Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. I mean, I've got a few books on my TBR with a similar page count. In terms of just hitting the 500 page ranking, this one is 510 pages, but every other one of the books on my TBR were distinctly larger books. This is the largest book in the Bone Season series so far. Dare I say it, it is also one of the most intimidating books to get to. I enjoyed the first book, The Bone Season, and the series is definitely one of the longest series on my TBR, so I'm definitely looking forward to diving in soon. I don't know if I need to revisit The Bone Season because there was a lot of information in that book that I feel like I need to remember, even though I read the book like 6 months ago. I don't know, does everybody else feel this way about the Bone Season series, being that the books only come out every 2 years or 3 years and it's a 7-book series? I have another series on this TBR that I'm going to mention that's kind of in a similar boat, but that is the last one I'm going to mention, so stay tuned for that. And the next largest book on my TBR that I've got to mention is The Savior's Sister, which is the companion slash sequel to The Savior's Champion by Jenna Moreci. And this book clocks in at 560 pages and it feels heavy. Sometimes independently published books, if they're hardbacks, they tend to feel heavier and their spines tend to feel flatter. It feels like a brick. Like, I feel like this could be a weapon. I could literally throw this at someone and they could get seriously harmed. So I'm not gonna do that. I pretty much purchased this series because I've been watching Jenna Moreci's writer content here on YouTube, and I just found the topics that she discussed to be absolutely fascinating, and I was just hoping her book series kind of implemented her writing practices into them. I have not yet read anything by Jenna Moreci, but I'm very much looking forward to reading something from her very soon. I feel like Savior's series is a really good fantasy series. Obviously, I love fantasy, so I think to myself, why not? These books are pretty chunky, but so far, The Savior's Sister is the chunkiest of both of them, and I think there's gonna be a third book. I wonder if that's gonna be a chunker as well. If Tome Topple ever comes around, I think I'm gonna save The Savior's Champion or the Savior series for that TBR, only because I'm slowly running out of tomes. The next book that is the largest on my TBR so far is the 4th book, which is the book that I'm next in line to read in the Expanse series. This book clocks in at 580 pages, I'm pretty sure when I checked, and that's excluding the bonus chapter, 581. So this is actually the longest Expanse book that I have not yet read. The ones I did check, books 5, 6, 7, and 8, all of them are under this page count. Literally the next Expanse book I have to read is going to be the longest one. Honestly, if I can get through Cibola Burn, I can get through anything. And I've been enjoying the Expanse series so far, but I need to get back into it. I read Leviathan Wakes, Caliban's War, and Abaddon's Gate this year. I started to slowly fall in love with the Expanse world again because I watched the TV show, and the TV show, in my personal opinion, I know a lot of people are going to try to convince me to watch the TV show, but network TV show space operas are not necessarily my thing. I don't know if it's because of the special effects. I want to kind of just leave it up to my head. The TV show kind of turned me off because when I picture these things in my head, I like to picture them in a sense that they are unlimited in my imagination and not limited by a budget of a TV show, pretty much. I appreciate everybody who has been recommending the TV show to me. Just for now, I want to read the books first so that I can kind of just picture the galaxy to be limitless in my head, and also the storyline. And considering that the TV show kind of diverges eventually from the plot of the book series, and I have been loving the book series. Ever since I read Caliban's War, or I reread it, that's when I realized this series is worth reading. But I need to put it into practice. I need to get to Sabola Burn. The books in the series aren't necessarily the longest books that I have on my TBR. However, it is kind of, at the moment, the longest series that I have on my TBR, so I gotta power through them eventually. The next book I bring up is We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faisal. This is the sequel to We Hunt the Flame, and this series is a duology. While I prefer to read longer series, I am so happy this final book is thick, because if it wasn't thick, then I don't know what I'd do. It literally just surpasses Sabola Burn. It is 583 pages, so it surpasses it by 2 pages. I think I have to reread We Hunt the Flame, and the reason why I think I need to reread it is because I made a mistake. I listened to the audiobook. And the thing about the audiobook is that the narrators are not Middle Eastern. They are 2 very popular audiobook narrators, but you're getting 2 white people to try to speak Arabic, try to say Arabic words. Like, I personally couldn't take it seriously. I don't have anything against them doing the audiobook because they were contracted to. In my opinion, it really depends on who's in the industry. If there are more people and more diverse people in the industry, yes, you can invite them to narrate your audiobook. But with these 2 narrators, as much as they are very good narrators, I personally found the pronunciation of the Arabic words to be cringy. It took me out of the story, and it made me forget about the actual plot. It made me think to myself, all I really remember about my reading experience was being cringed out. Before I get to We Free the Stars, I have to reread We Hunt the Flame. I kind of just need to separate my mind from what I listen to. Some of the pronunciations are just not right. Being that I'm Middle Eastern myself, I love to see Middle Eastern representation in young adult literature. I just hear nothing but great things about this series, even though I have kind of technically listened to the first book, but I can barely remember anything about it. What I do know is that it is a good story, and I do want to revisit it and give it the justice that it deserves. And the 3rd biggest book on my TBR is Deathcaster by Cinda Williams-Chama. If you guys don't know, this is the 4th and final book in the 7 Realms series. 645 pages. Wow, that is a chunker of a finale. I hope that the finale pays off, but I still need to start the series. What I do know about the series is that it is a spin-off to one of my favorite series ever, which is the 7 Realms series. If you have not yet read that series, I highly recommend it, and I need to read it soon, because if I don't read it soon, then I'm gonna be so lost. I'm really excited to get to this one. Yes, it definitely does feel like a heavy finale, even though, of course, I have it in US paperback, and they are very light paperback. But if I had this in hardback, this would be a weapon, that is for sure. The second last largest book on my TBR is a book from one of my favorite authors, and that is Haruki Murakami. Yes, guys, I'm referring to Killing Commendator. I believe that this is a combination of 2 books, and some of Haruki Murakami's books are a combination of a few books. An example being that the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles intention was originally to be a trilogy. It kind of was, just like merged together. I think 1Q84 some people classify as 1 book, and some people classify as 3. It's very interesting with Murakami's book. 681 pages. That is almost 700 pages. I don't know if I've mentioned this before on my channel, but look how pretty Under the Dust Jacket is. I now know why everybody, or every Haruki Murakami fan, wanted the hardback of the series. And some of his hardbacks are pretty cool, but they go out of print and then they end up becoming matching copies to his generic black, white, and red covers. I haven't heard the greatest things about Killing Commendator. I've heard better things about Haruki Murakami's previous works, like his days when he was writing Norwegian Wood and Kafka on the Shore, which is my personal favorite, or the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. I hear that those are when his works peaked. I'm trying not to believe that. I'm trying to go into his books with an open mind to see if I would get more out of them. And so that's why I'm kind of intimidated about Killing Commendator. It's not necessarily just because that Killing Commendator is massive. It's also very intimidating because not many people love it. That's why I gotta go into this one with an open mind, and I'm hoping to love it just as much as I love the rest of Haruki Murakami's works. I mean, yeah, of course, some of his works are hit or miss. The last book that I read from him this year was in January, and it was a reread of Norwegian Wood. I actually need to get back into reading Haruki Murakami. I call myself a fan. And the final book slash series, or like one of the books in the series, I don't know which one it is. I don't know which one's the chunkiest, but I'm just gonna bring it up here right now because every single one of the books in the series beat every single one of the books that I brought up on my TBR by far. And that, my friends, is, I don't know, the largest book in the Stormlight Archive series. I'm holding up The Way of Kings because I actually don't know which one's the largest, because every single one of my editions are split in half. I mean, yeah, I could technically actually go through every single one of the books and use my calculator. Did I do that? No. So it's probably either Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, or Rhythm of War. Even though I don't own Rhythm of War yet, because Rhythm of War only comes in a tall paperback. I'm just waiting for it to decrease so that it can match the rest of my series. But what I do know is that every single one of the books in this series are larger than every single one of the books on my TBR. That's even including the manga bind-ups that I have. And I didn't include the manga bind-ups because each manga volume is like different in size. I'm intimidated by the series because it's gonna be a few years until we get the next book in this series, and from what I know, the Stormlight Archive, I think it's set out to be a 7-book series. I could be wrong. Not yet read the series, so please don't take my word for it. But what I do know is that there are other series that he's prioritizing writing, like the continuation of the Mistborn saga or the Reckoner series. I'm pretty sure that the continuation of the Reckoner series is going to be audio only. Obviously, you've got the Skyward series, which is another series I'm very much looking forward to getting to from him. With this series, I think I'm just mostly intimidated because they're big, but also they come out every few years. So I'm even more intimidated by them because they're even bigger. But I should stop being intimidated by them because everybody loves them. So yeah, just get with it already, G-Swiss. I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. Also, I have social medias. I'm at GSwizzleBooks on Twitter and Instagram. I am at GSwizzle on BookTok. If you want more bookish creative content, check that out. And I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/GSwizzle. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it in a double. Started out with half and I flipped it in a double.